5, 4, 3. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. What a time you join us at. It's the start of the finale to the ever exciting 2016 World Motorsport Championship. We are here in Dubai. I'm Ismail Ginger, joined by Johan.
Hello, everybody. It is always wonderful to be here. For the 8th time in this championship's history at Dubai, we have a fantastic championship fight, 2 championship fights actually, between multiple parties, and it's going to be very close. We're going to be having some fun and exciting chaotic racing today.
And it's a monstrous battle. Rossini, who started well, tapered off recently, as Chapman has climbed the top of the board, 6 wins, 4 of them in the last 4 rounds, overcoming Sharp and Wexler, but both still have a chance to rectify it. Meanwhile, at the bottom, we've got a monstrous battle between Cortosi and Chariot, both eager to survive, with Asia Road and Velan, their main rivals, probably already safe. But now, as we head to the grid, where Tifosi, it's a 1-2 for Steinman. It's exactly where they need to be. They're 17 points behind. Not insurmountable, but it's still going to be tough. A reminder that the maximum is 44.
Indeed, and on the second row, it is the 2 Rossinis with Nilo Saarinen ahead of Dieter Wexler. There was some controversy over the run plan that Rossini used because Wexler is sitting behind his teammate in a driver's championship fight, but the team matters, especially in a high-pressure situation like this. So lap 1, turn 1, that's where it's all going to be decided, at least for the first end of the race. But Rossini starts in the second row.
On row 3, very much a mixed bag. We have what many are calling the disappointment of the season, Nikolai Surikov, who has unfortunately been battling with his roommate Lipinen all season. However, many Panther fans are blaming Surikov for the fact they aren't in the constructors fight, whereas Lipinen has been the surprise positive package, sitting in 6th, best of the rest, and showing Windsor have a lot to fight for still.
Indeed, and on the 4th row, 1 disappointment and 1 brilliant surprise. Zoe Sharp, we were hearing from our reporter Johnny Hubris before the weekend that she was not feeling well at all. She had an issue with her neck, some sensitivity, and couldn't make it through a physical, but she races with her heart because she knows she needs to. This is her only shot at a title, her first in her 3 seasons with Panther, and she needs to do it whatever the cost. So she'll be starting in 7th despite her poor pace. And in 8th, brilliant qualifying lap, making it into Q3 again from Samuel Blanc. Great run plan has given Thornton a shot at more points and a better shot at the championship.
Another team with some good shots, some good points here. They're ever reliable, fairly old, unfortunately, Jenny North. It is her final race. She lines up behind Javier Vasquez, who is uncertain about continuing. His contract does expire, but if it is a double send-off, hopefully it'll be one worth remembering as they start on the 5th row, 9th and 10th.
Yep, and on the strategic front row, it is going to be an interesting mixed bag here with Alejandro Moreno, the pocketbook of Thornton Motorsport, as he is known. And he is starting with a very, very curious choice of tire. It is the hard compound tire. No one up to this point in the season has actually started a race on that tire, but Thornton have broken Parc Ferme and were given special dispensation to use it. Does Mr. Postlethwaite know something that we don't? Who knows? Well, Moreno's on strategic pole, but joining him to his outside is Esteban Ribeiro for Velan.
On row 7, we have 2 drivers not expected to do much. One of them has done a bit, the other not so much. Singajono Hamrun in Asia Road Racing, the team in 10th on 2 points, lines up ahead of Perturb Atien, a good, solid 14th position for Cortosi Corsa. Would love to get some points in the season finale, however, it's going to be a tough one. Let's see what happens.
Row 8 now. And again, we have mixed fortunes here. Jeremy Woodford for Chariot Motor Group. This is a great qualifying position for them. They are desperate to survive and not get dropped back down to Asia Pacific Super Cup. It is a very controversial provision. There are discussions to potentially remove it and lock each team into where they are. But this is what matters is the best finish, because neither of them have points. Woodford starting in 15th. Maria Gonzalez, a very disappointing qualifying effort for the Van Dort driver. She will be in 16th, and points are pretty far away from here, but we know how good she is on tire wear, and she could potentially give a huge surprise to all of us today.
On row 9, 2 drivers who haven't delivered amazingly but have done enough for their teams. Lucia Flores, 20th in the championship, 17th on the grid, and Siri Lundqvist, 18th in the championship and 18th on the grid.
It's row 10 now, with perhaps the shock of the entire qualifying session. It's the Windsor driver in her final race with the team, Ana Oliveira. She ran afoul of the infamous speed hump chicane, as it is known, and lost over a second by missing the perfect line through there. And it cost her dearly with the used tire set that she was on. Only going to be P19 and out of Q1, but she does have strategic advantage over the other drivers and the pace to make it work. So we'll see what surprises she can bring us from 19th. And joining her is Iker Vidal, also from Chariot. Both Chariots out-qualifying the Cortosis.
One usual suspect here on row 11, one surprise. Coffee Coro and the Cortosi, desperate for anything at this point, with his future pretty much in the bin unless the team get relegated to APS. And he is ahead of Wolfgang Schmidt, another surprise, another one who fell foul of that infamous Sector 3 chicane. So he lines up in P22, not very good for him. Let's see what he can do to improve it.
It's the final row of the grid. You really do not want to be this far down, but thankfully the drivers of both of these teams are reasonably safe in terms of their future in the sport. Ricky Casserly is likely to continue with Asia Road Racing, but there have been some reports of discord between him and his race engineer, and the chairman is dissatisfied at that. Casserly starting in 23rd, trying to prove his future as a main driver for them. But at dead last, it is Frieda Fischer filling in for Rick de Graaf at Rizzata Corsa, who he had a bit of a crash, which took him out at Rio, but just didn't acclimate to the car, and she's dead last here. But here we go. As we go to the lights, 3 drivers in the title, 2 teams in the title fight, and it's all going to come down to the wire. As it's 1 light, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 laps. Pause. And it's lights out and away we go, and it's a great start for Harry Chapman and Nina Holz. It's side by side into turn 1 for Dieter Vexler and Neil Sarden. Off goes Harry Chapman. He has spun. We got a collision.
There's a collision in the middle.
Moreno and Petro Mattia. Harry Chapman went off the road. Those cold tires did not work for him at all, and he is off the track in turn 1 as Nina Holz takes them away to the lead with Dieter Vexler second and Nilo Saarinen in third. That is a nightmare start for Harry Chapman with 4 wins in a row. That could have been a perfect opportunity as Blog has a spin. A great qualifying, now meaningless as he's down to 17th. Both Thornton drivers are under investigation for causing collisions. An absolutely horrifically messy first lap. Disaster.
Both need repairs. Both need repairs, by the way, Johan. As behind them, Gonzalez and Lundqvist also got into a bit of a scrap, who both need repairs as well. As Frieda Fischer's gone.
Oh, off the road, and the rear wing just snapped on her car, and that's Frieda Fischer out. Deputizing for Rick de Graaf, she's going to go nowhere fast. And Harry Chapman is only...
Attia's gone as well.
Retro Attia out as well. This is the messiest first lap we have seen since the early part of the season when the tires were didn't have the right pressure in them, but thankfully they were able to get that fixed. But still, even with the tire pressures being right, this is a wild first lap, as it is Nina Holz in the lead with Vexler second and potentially in the championship lead. Yes, he is by 4 points.
Does Sharp have an issue?
Sharp, I think, might have punctured because of the
Oh,
collision.
puncture, yes.
She did puncture. She's going to have to come into the pits.
Meanwhile, FIA penalties, 5 and 10 seconds for Blanc. A horrific day for Thornton already.
And now the KERS system's been deployed. This is the last race before the... and it's another
Schmidt's
crash!
gone.
That's 3 crashes in 1 lap, but no safety cars been deployed. All of them far enough off the racing line that the recovery services can bring them out without deploying a safety car. As both Thorntons are in the pit lane to fix their damage, but we have a battle for the lead. Dieter Vexler, Nilo Saarinen rampantly trying to chase down Nina Holtz for the race win, and of course, for Vexler, this is all about the Drivers' Championship as well. You need to be as safe but also as aggressive as possible at the same time with Chapman's mistake.
Well, hearing back Wexler's radio after he heard about the spin for Chapman, not much emotion, locked in for this one, as I'm hearing that Flores is up to 8th, Ribeiro in the Velan in 9th. Some good points on offer here.
Side by side between the two Rossinis. Saarinen trying to make a pass, but it's not going to happen. Dieter Vexler
as 11, 12, 13 is both Chariots and Kofi Coro yet to score, but not that far away as it stands, as Surikov sets the fastest lap. Chapman up to 14th.
Yes.
Both Thorntons are on the hard tyre at the back of the field, and they are just... Sharp as well. Sharp is 35 seconds behind Gonzalez. Her race needs a safety car, which, when she heard there was 3 crashes and no safety cars, she was not very happy, but it's always at the FIA's discretion, as we see Chapman down the inside of Cora for 13th. He needs all the points he can get.
But she loses time. He goes he hits the speed bump, and he's going to lose quite a bit of time there. He is back up into 12th place, but he still has his work cut out for him to maintain the championship lead, which currently is in the hands of Dieter Vexler in 2nd. Still can't find a way around Nina Holtz. She's doing what she can to keep the lead out of Dieter Vexler's hands.
As meanwhile, back at the front, we see Holtz is holding on. Obviously, those 7 points between 2nd and 1st would make a huge difference in this title fight. It would mean so much extra work for Chapman. Chapman actually sending a message through a double comm system saying to Holtz, do what you can for both of us. Meanwhile, as I look towards the Constructors' Championship, not too surprisingly, it would be Rossini who already have the lead taking it, but Chapman, Purple Sector 2, 51-7, so he's still in it.
Meanwhile, we have another overtake for position. It's Nikolai Surikov passing Nilo Saarinen, and what a move that was into the final corner. That is bad news for Dieter Vexler. He doesn't have a wingman behind him, but he's still going to go for the lead. He is side by side with Nina Holtz into the corner. Can he get a move done? No, he couldn't. Could this be a crossover move to the inside? A very high-speed turn that is, and it's going to be Dieter Vexler leading. Huge move for the championship.
That move could be the move that secures the double here, as we're seeing moves made on Vasquez, and that's the risotto, not of Rick de Graaf, but of Lucia Flores making the move.
Flores is doing a fantastic job, and Chapman hits the speed bump again! Oh, that is really not good news, and we know how controversial that speed bump is with the drivers. They're thinking of potentially moving away. Oh my goodness me, double wide, multiple corners over. Esteban Ribeiro into 8th.
What's going on with Vasquez? He's lost position to Ribeiro and Flores, and now Chapman and Oliveira.
And Oliveira overtakes both him and Chapman.
That is 4 positions lost from Vasquez in 1 real minute of action. As Iker Vidal, another one's gone. It's a chariot, and that potentially makes them ineligible to score, as we see Woodford only 17th.
Yeah, that is really bad stuff, and I think that they're going to have to drop back down to APS. As it stands, I believe Chariot are ahead. We'll have to take a look again, but it is Chariot ahead. We'll get
confirmation on that, obviously. As I'm looking at the gap to Sharp, Sharp is still 23.5 seconds behind Jeremy Woodford, this is a terrible situation for her. I can't quite calculate the gap all the way to the top 3, but it's an insurmountable amount for Sharp. I think she's just gonna fall at that last hurdle, as we're seeing Chapman, who does not want to fall at the last hurdle, fighting with Jenny North in 9th position.
Yes, he's still doing whatever he can, but he's just missing out on the inside line every single time. I think it's going to happen this time, though.
But there he goes. There's the inside line.
I was going to say, with Oliveira making that daring maneuver on him, she was eliminated in Q1, and now she's P8. Those middle compound tires are working fantastically for her, and we see that they are a lot more useful now than they were last season. These have been a interesting set of tires that we've used, and I hope we can continue to use them. Meanwhile, Nikolai Surkov is trying to pass Holtz.
This could be a nail in the coffin for the Steinman Constructor title hopes if Surkov gets this move done, as they're already 2 seconds behind Wexler, and he is slowly etching away exactly as he needs to do.
And we have our first pit stop. It is Javier Vazquez. Unsurprisingly, that he was struggling
onto the hards.
Onto the hards he goes, yes. And here goes Surkov into second.
Yes, Blanc.
What a move, but could Holtz fight it back?
Blanc and Moreno are joined by Vasquez on the C4, medium tyres. The hards for this race is Surkov loses out on a bad line and hits the bump badly on that time against Holtz.
You don't want to do the bump.
Meanwhile, the directors are pointing out that the Thorntons on those now well-worn-in hardest compound tyres, we see Holtz is in, and that's Saarinen behind, as we were seeing that Blanc and Moreno were actually keeping pace with the leaders.
They were keeping pace with the leaders. That might be what's influenced Chapman to come in. Both Steimans are in at the same time here, and Holtz is going hards as well. Oh my goodness!
Saarinen does. Chapman, will he? No! Chapman has to go something else in order to catch up, I think. He will go soft supers.
Yeah.
He will go soft and then back to supers, probably.
Well, we know how long this track is and how abrasive it is. Every turn is so terrifyingly fast that there's so much pressure being exerted and energy being exerted on the tires. So it's, oh my, what a huge move. Esteban Ribeiro passing Aki Lipinen with Kurz there. It was fantastic stuff. As I was about to say, that the amount of rotation that we see on this track means that the soft tires just die really fast. And we saw with the Thorntons, they had such good pace on those harder tires that multiple people are going for it.
See what the front two do. They're both coming in. They're both boxing. The crews are ready.
Surkov, Vexler, Lipinen also in. I think Flores is going an extra lap on those tires. What will Vexler do? He's going to come out with middle compound tires. All of them will. Nina Holtz gets the jump. Saarinen also gets the jump on him. It's Holtz in the lead with Saarinen second.
As Holtz coming up to Jeremy Woodford in 9th on track. So we're seeing team orders from Rossini.
That was an interesting call. I mean, normally Saarinen doesn't care very much about team orders, but we saw with Vexler over the two-way radio. Stupid strategy. Why did you let him undercut me? And yeah, I totally sympathize with him, because with Chapman slowly recovering his position with this undercut, he may have safety with the championship lead, even though Vexler is ahead.
Well, as it stands, Chapman will win, but that's obviously given that they're not in the points currently, with soft runners ahead of them. As Flores, who did start outside the top 10, is going 11 laps on these super softs.
And there is
as Holtz locks
Chapman
up.
passing Lipinen for position, as Nina Holtz did lock up. We saw that. Nilo Saarinen passing Jeremy Woodford, as is Dieter Vexler. And they're doing it again. Oh my gosh, what are you guys doing? Rossini doing these team orders constantly, and they're just losing time to Nina Holtz.
I think Wexler went wide on a corner and Saarinen got past, and then he was like, yeah, no, I'll just dip out. I mean,
yeah.
It's so complicated at the moment, but as we see Surkov making a move on Woodford,
and
Surkov didn't, almost got a line on Saarinen.
as Chapman and Lipinen are still really close to each other, but I think that might be the nail in the coffin. Chapman is ahead of Lipinen for reals now. As Lucia Flores, the last runner on the softs, comes in after 12 laps. Normally, with most tracks, 12 laps wouldn't be very much, but that is an extraordinarily long time here. Onto the middle compound.
As she comes out 18th, still over 15 seconds ahead of the...
And Gonzalez off the road. Was lucky to not spin it, but she does go off the road, and that's going to be detrimental to her pace with the amount of marbles that she picks up on those tires. As Nina Holtz still leading and going to try and clear Ricky Castley here, easily does it.
Can she do anything through the chicane on a Cortosi? Yes, she can. And now the second. Yes, that is the second Asia Road. But it uses curse to get away.
Defend from this a little bit, but Nina Holtz does have the advantage. Vexer looking for a move, and he is going to get it done. Easy stuff. Into 7th place he is, but I'm afraid
trying to make a double move.
Double overtake for multiple cars, yes. And now Holtz is P4, and it's Oliveira in the lead with the 2 Velan 2nd and 3rd. They haven't stopped yet, but it's looking good for both of them if they can make this overcut work. As
Wexler the 5th.
Nilo Saarinen has gone nowhere fast on those hard tires. This is disaster for him.
Nor is Chapman, who's still 3 seconds behind Saarinen, who now goes to 10th.
Well, he has definitely made up ground on the midfielders that he shouldn't be behind, to take a word for it. But I'm not sure that he's been able to recover his championship lead yet, as here comes Surikov now clearing Hammer in the traffic. As there's Holtz into 3rd place. Now she's finally back in the podium placings. And I think Vexer will be able to get through soon, with Siri Lundqvist going to be able to get out of the way. No, she is not trying to get out of the way. A bit of an interesting decision there from the Swedish Velan driver.
As Sharp comes in for her second stop, still miles off the pack, actually comes out behind one of the Thorntons.
This has been absolutely horrific for Zoe. Cannot believe that this is just falling apart for her. I mean, we're going to have to take a look at a replay as to her lap 1. I think it somehow escaped all of us that she had a collision. But it's just ruined her race, and a Cinderella unlikely championship charge probably over at this point, unless a miracle happens where a safety car is deployed. But of course, we know that these drivers are a bit better at managing their tires now, so it's a little bit less likely that we do see a safety car, as we just saw Lipinen clear traffic, and Chapman still a long way behind Nilo Saarinen, losing time behind all of these backmarker cars, trying to get around the outside of Gonzalez, and that's going to work for him.
As it switches to the inside, Chapman, seasoned veteran, knows what he's doing. He's in the World Championship for a reason.
And we're going to see, we have a battle for the lead. Dieter Vexler is caught back up to Nina Holtz. He's got the fresher tires and the better compound. He needs to do something different from the Steinman. Tried to make a move around the inside, couldn't do it. But thankfully, he doesn't hit the speed bump, so he's going to be able to have another shot next lap.
As we're seeing Wexler dives up on Holtz, those fresher tires kicking in now.
Oh, but he sends Holtz onto another dirty line, and he's past Esteban Reparo. What a move. Now Vexler in 2nd, and Chapman still ahead of Lipinen, but behind on the traffic. And I think if all cycles out well enough, it will be Vexler in the championship lead by 1 point. Chapman is going to need to catch Saarinen.
There's still plenty of race to go. We had chaos at the start. We can always have chaos at the end. As we see Holtz into 3rd.
Which will become 2nd soon. Ana Oliveira's done a really good job managing her tires. Trouble! Off the road goes Chapman again! He has spun again! Oh no! From 4 wings.
And he locks up!
Dirty, and he locks. Oh my goodness. He's just slammed his hand in frustration at the steering wheel. Careful, man. You don't want to be doing that. Don't beat yourself
Meanwhile,
up. You got a long time to go.
Wexler at the exact same time set a purple sector 2. Doesn't have the fastest lap, but is going fast.
He is going very fast. And I think that mistake from Chapman could be deadly for his championship hopes. I mean, winning 4 in a row, and it all just unraveling right in front of his eyes. We see both of the Jeremy Woodford and Jenny North both coming into the pit lane this time as Blanc and Moreno, after their, I'll be honest, ridiculously poor first lap crash, they are now 16th and 19th. Obviously, they will need to stop again, but it's impressive that they've actually managed to recover that much time, considering both of them needed to come into the pits.
Yes, however, they are only beating Sharp, Woodford, and North. Not the most impressive list to be beating.
Sharp is an impressive driver to be beating, considering how her race has gone poorly. As Dieter Vexer comes into the pits, or takes the lead, and Esteban Ribeiro and Siri Lundqvist will be double stacking in the pits for a new strategy. What will they be doing? It looks like it's another set of middles for Ribeiro and Lundqvist.
Both on the same strategy, soft, super.
Looks likely at this point. I mean, we know that they didn't make it into Q3, so they don't bring a lot of them, but that extra super soft tires is probably going to be available for them.
As that also means the rest of them will probably be coming in. Oliveira and Hamron and Gonzalez, notably. And
Yeah,
Coro and Cassidy also. Coro is actually in 10th. I don't know how long for, but for now he's in 10th, which would relegate Chariot.
It would, and there is Harry Chapman trying to find a way around Hamron and Gonzalez at the same time. Can he do it? He's going to pass Hamron at one point. We're going to have to take a look and see if can he get Maria Gonzalez. Oh, trouble. He's coming to the pits to try and make the overcut. It's pit stop central in the midfield.
Yes, it is. Chapman's going to lead them out. And
Blanc
is actually ahead.
What is he doing? What is he doing?
Blanc is actually ahead, although you got to remember, Johan, he did spin and lock up like 2 laps ago, so those tyres may have been ruined off that.
Yeah, cooked indeed. And I think that mistake probably he might have just lost the World Championship from that. Unless Dieter Vexer blows up, it might be over.
Well, stranger things have happened. We're seeing halts on the back of Oliveira under a 10th. Oliveira yet to pit alongside Gonzalez as we go 20 laps.
Surikov are side by side. That's Surikov in a second, ahead of Holtz.
Somehow, we didn't see it, but somehow, as we're seeing, Holtz is now re-overtaking Surikov. Some mad battling going on here. Saarinen not far behind, trying to overtake Oliveira.
This is some good racing towards the back, as there is the Iceman, Nilo Saarinen, trying to make a move on Oliveira. That's going to be cool as ice. 4th place he goes. Nina Holtz still trying to find a way around Nikolai Surikov. It's going to be easy. Into the chicane she goes. It looks like they were going to be able to avoid the speed bump there, but Holtz manages to reestablish second.
For now.
For now, indeed. But, yeah, this is not looking great for Chapman, but you know who it is looking good for? It's Villan. Both Siri Lundqvist and Esteban Ribeiro are in the points, 9th and 10th. And into the pits goes Ana Oliveira. Amazing tire management, 20 laps on those middle compounds. She'll be doing another set of them, though, going for 2 pit stops. And it's going to come out in P8.
Well, the 2-stop is highly favoured here, so not surprised, although I don't think those who are currently on 2 stops will be too happy about it.
Such a shame for both Sharp and Chapman, 2 title contenders forced onto 3 pit stops due to either bad luck or just poor mistakes. And there's Harry Chapman trying to pass Zoe Sharp for pride at this point, unless a miracle happens, of course.
Well, Chapman does it, as his next sight is the 2 Velans, and then after that, Oliveira.
And we see that Samuel Blanc is having some concerns about the hard tire starting to phase out a little bit, as we're hearing Nina Holtz locked up, trying to pin it to catch up to Vexer. He has really just got fantastic pace in this middle stint, and it's putting Holtz under a little bit of pressure, I think, and there you go. And Nikolai Surikov forcing his way through. Not totally unfazed with the mistakes that Nina Holtz has made. He's going to hold on for second. Been a rough season for him, but I think if he does finish on the podium, it would be a nice way to end the season on a high note.
As Coro spins near the back.
From 16th. It's a tough one there.
Oliveira is currently on the tail of Javier Vasquez.
Oh,
Two
but she tries to go around the
experienced
outside of her
drivers.
former teammate. Couldn't do it.
Well, they keep it clean. Two veterans keeping it clean. As always, as Oliveira still looking to make a move here for on-track 7th.
Well, Surikov forced Holtz into a mistake. Could Holtz do the same back to Surikov? Looks like she is. Great move there. Holtz back in a second. This is some fantastic battling between drivers who have nothing to lose as it stands. Surikov fighting it back again.
As Chapman blew by Lundqvist in turn 1 and Hamron overtakes Blanc, Oliveira gets Vasquez. Some good action happening now as we head to the halfway mark in the race.
Oh my God.
As
This is the
Holtz gets
second time.
Surikov back.
Oh, trouble. They forcing him off the speed line. Man, Holtz and Surikov, they are fighting so hard for this. Steady on, guys. Here comes Nilo Saarinen in a second. And he has a move. He has his DRS wing open. To the inside he goes.
Oh, couldn't get the double overtake. Not courageous enough from the Iceman. It would have been cold, though.
It would have been cold, calculated. Did force Surikov onto the dirty line, and there he goes. Second place. It is a Rossini 1-2 now.
As looking at the championship, Chapman is needing, I think he needs 4th now. Yes, he does. He needs 4th. How many seconds away is that, and is that even possible at this point?
Indeed. And even if Vexer does get the fastest lap, it would still be 4th place. There's Zoe Sharp now in 11th.
Let's bring up the full standings just so we can have a look. The full timing tower, apologies, so we can have a look.
It's going to be a really
Chapman
long ways away.
is 43, Surikov is 11, 32 seconds.
And he is still a whole pit stop down as we see Siri Lundqvist passing Zoe Sharp back. Sharp just gives a, forgive the pun of course, a sharp exhale over the team radio. She is just dejected. And we've just gotten another communication. Just bring me home. Miserable Zoe Sharp after all this, but she's still fighting a little bit, and she's going to take 11th back.
Well, I mean, this isn't Cape Town and this isn't Australia, so I don't know how you can go home.
Yeah, indeed. But there is Harry Chapman going to make a move on Esteban Ribeiro, and there's another Steinman further up making a pass. It's Nina Holtz back on Nilo Saarinen for second. This battle for second will not give up, and these guys have definitely shouted profanities to their race engineers over the defensive and attacking maneuvers that each of them have been doing.
As we see Sharp losing out once again to Lundqvist.
As there he is, he's going to make a move into 8th. Oh my goodness me. Has he woken back up? That is 2 overtakes, potentially 3 in 1 lap. Chapman's back into 7th. He might still be... It's just looking too far behind, though, I think, because it's just still almost a whole pit stop behind where he needs to be. And it really just... I think it would require a miracle. Vexler blowing up is his only option.
Or a safety car, that would make things very spicy. So we're seeing in the midfield Flores in a comfortable P8, although being passed by Chapman, who is now... It's only 3 positions, but it's a lot of time to make up.
Yeah, he's got a ton of time indeed. I would say around 24, 25 seconds. I just don't see how he can do that, especially when others will be on a similar... at least similar tires to him, but it is going to be, but it's going to be him in 7th for now. But Lucia Flores in 8th. I gotta say she's doing a good job for herself. Didn't score any points compared to the generational Rick de Graaf, and I think with Rick de Graaf out of the picture, if she can get P8, it would be a nice way to get one back on him, at least to say that I got points too. But she will have to contend from Vasquez, who moves back into 8th place himself. As we're seeing some concerns from the Thornton pit wall, their hard tires have finally given up the ghost, and it's Alejandro Moreno who's going to be called in first. He's in 20th place, even after all the pit stops everyone else has made. He is still plumb last.
Well,
Devastating.
Blanc not doing much better. He's 16th with an extra pit stop to go. Meanwhile, back up front, we're seeing Flores pushing Vasquez around. That's close to the gearbox, Flores.
As we're seeing, Ribeiro still holds the final point. He's going to try and make a move on. He's still holding on to the final point. Can he get a run on Lucia Flores? He does have his DRS flap open. This is going to be a good opportunity for Villan to take the move down the inside, and he's going to do it.
Can he get Vasquez now, maybe? He's keeping in
this is
tow
looking
with
good.
him.
Those fresh tires are working out for him. He's 9th and could get a move for P8 soon. We're approaching the pit window for the front runners too. We'll see what they do, because is it worth it to do 2 pit stops for supers, or do you want to just play it safe and go for the middle compound to the end? Because it is capable of going to the end just about this point in the race.
It's a tough call, but Ribeiro's now focused on that, using his KERS and some DRS to pass Vasquez.
Back into 8th, but Vasquez passes back. Into 8th place he goes. There's Dieter Wexler in the pits. What will he be doing? He's going to come into the pits. Tires on. It's a 3-stopper for Dieter Wexler.
Interesting.
Very interesting call. He's still ahead of Harry Chapman, but Chapman will have an undercut on him. And I think that might have been a call that that could cost Wexler a title. He needs to win this race to have a shot, because if worst case scenario, Chapman will still be P7, and he will only have around 4 points down on Wexler, assuming Wexler wins. So this is a very, very brave choice. I mean, I think he probably felt that he could get it done. We saw Chapman do the same thing with Rio, take another pit stop, but even though he's still so far ahead, but he needs to get those tires to switch on fast.
Is in 17th now. Vasquez looking to pass Ribeiro once again. Surikov is in. Anyone else?
Lippinen. We saw Sharp's just going to go to the end. And Surikov doing 3 stops as well. Lippinen doing 3 as well. Holtz and Saarinen on a 2-stop strategy here.
Flores on a 3-stop now.
A lot of people doing 3 pit stops. They're just concerned that these middle compound tires aren't going to be able to last. With obviously the track temperature being good in the middle stint, but it's going to drop off a little bit towards the final stint. So that'll be more favorable to the softer compound tire. So we'll see if that strategy is going to pay off. Wexler is only 14 seconds out of the lead. It is touch and go, but he could still do it, as we do have a battle for the lead between Saarinen and Holtz, who are looking to save a stop on him. And it is going to be Holtz still leading, though. Wexler much faster, though, through the and a whole 4 seconds quicker.
It's the power of those super soft tires versus mediums, as it's going to be helped by the fact that Saarinen is now haranguing Holtz through Sector 1 and down onto the back straight.
There he is. He's already gaining quite a bit of time, as there is Javier Vasquez losing position to Aki Lippinen in 8th. And Saarinen has passed Nina Holtz through the speed bump. That's going to be good news for Rossini's constructors' hopes. Saarinen back in the lead. Now the only question is, how long do you stretch these 4 softs later?
Well, it's still Rossini with their good large number of Tifosi here. They are still in the driving seat, but it's not over until it's over. So as we see Lippinen now fighting with Ribeiro, getting past Ribeiro for 8th. Ribeiro still not quite clear of Vasquez in 9th.
All right, that lap was a lot more sedate from Wexler, only around 2 seconds, I think. Never mind. No, it was not. Those tires are really reaching the end of their lifespan, but there's nothing Saarinen and Holtz could do. They have to wait until they can pit.
Well, Wexler is closing down. We see on the follow cam, there's the 2 at the front. There's the lead. As every corner you see the difference in this car, as there's Holtz in.
Holtz is in. I don't think she can make a supers work from that. That's going to be a tough one. comes into the pits. And she is going supers to the end of the race for 6th. And she'll definitely be faster than Harry Chapman. But how much faster? And there's team orders.
That's
Vexler's
team
back in the lead.
orders. Team
How quick was
orders.
that?
Very quick. I imagine there'll be team orders for Chapman if the same were to arise in Holt's situation.
Chapman's
As
tires are
Woodford
starting to
is
reach
in.
the end of their lifespan, though.
Well, Chapman is in his own predicament of his own making with 2 spins.
Yeah,
We're
2
seeing
spins. It might be the difference between a
really
championship.
fighting Chapman here. Surakov looking to
Chapman
play
back.
spoil.
Chapman doing whatever he can to block him. Going to be an easy 4th place at the moment. If Surakov can get this done, he is going to get it done, and he's through, but he lost quite a bit of time to Saarinen, who still hasn't stopped, by the way. He's trying to go supers at the end here as Lundqvist comes in. It's going to be middle compound all the way on all three stints for Siri Lundqvist. Comes out 16th place. It's going to be an interesting choice from here on out. As Surakov passes Oliveira for 3rd place. He's got a long way to go before he can catch Nilo Saarinen. I imagine he'll probably be within striking distance in around, I'd say, 4 laps if Saarinen doesn't come in soon. Luckily for Nilo Saarinen, he should have enough tires to get the job done. As we see, Chapman and Holtz are close. There's Chapman in 5th. He's only 1 position out from the position that he needs to be in to make this championship his.
Well, some nervous jitters starting to push into the Rossini garage as they realise that fact. That Chapman is actually kind of close to where he needs to be.
He's close. He's made it a little hard for himself, but he can still get this done. As long as he doesn't make another mistake, he might still be in with a shot. And Vexler still flying along. A statement of intent from this Rossini man, turning up the engine mode.
Saarinen is still on those mediums, still trudging it out.
He wants to go supers at the end so he can pass Chapman and all the other guys, but he's running out of time to do it.
Well, I think he's probably within the pit window now. With 10 to go, you probably could, although you wouldn't have much to push with. As we see Sharp pushing on for 9th.
She's passing Gonzalez into 9th place. There's not much she has to fight for, though. Her championship is pretty much over. As we see not off the track, into the pits goes Jenny North. Off the track after a fashion, that is. Looks like it's going to be another set of middle compound to the end. She's run out of soft sets, which is a real shame. As we see, Nina Holtz has passed Harry Chapman. Oh, adding insult to injury. What is going on? Good Lord. Chapman's going to need to come into the pits soon.
Strange move. Very strange from Steinman. Unless they think Holtz can pass Oliveira. No, he hasn't. As Wexler comes out
behind Nina Holtz,
but ahead of Chapman, who dives in at the same lap.
And it's not going to work out.
He will come out ahead of Vasquez.
And he's got 18 seconds to Lipinen. Well, around 20 seconds to the position he needs to be in.
Double stack from ART.
Yes, this is the last point where anyone would need to hit the pits. Nilo Saarinen. It's crazy that Vexler actually pit twice before Nilo Saarinen even pit once here. He knows he has to stretch these things long, though, if he wants to go supers at the end, which looks to be his plan. As into the pits goes nobody, actually. Here comes Dieter Vexler to the outside. Holtz covers the inside line. As Saarinen is finally in, will this be supers for him? He's come out ahead of Chapman to secure this position. And he goes supers.
He does come out ahead of Chapman by a margin.
Come out ahead of Chapman by 10 seconds. Once Surakov comes out, this might be game over. Chapman is only a little bit too far away.
Holtz locked up.
That's a tough one.
Wexler is flying at the minute. However, although, yes, Surikov does need to pit again.
Surikov does need to pit, but I think he does have enough of a gap to come out ahead of Chapman and at least go faster when all is said and done. And it's 1 point in it. Vexler is out of the position, but once Surikov pits, it will be advantage Vexler again. This could not have come closer. This could not be closer of a finish for the World Championship. Just wonderful stuff here as Nilo Saarinen passes Lipponen for 5th.
Chapman is actually getting time on Lipponen and Saarinen, it seems, but I don't know that he can gain enough.
Lap.
2:24.58. It's a good lap, but is it enough?
Surikov's going to need to come in this lap or after that. Going to be really, really close.
The thing, Blanc is actually in 11th. I know he's going to the end on those tyres, so... Although he does have a 10-second penalty, so it's unlikely, but it's a good recovery from him.
It's been a good recovery, but I see no possibility of it working. We see that the supers are just really good with these cooler temperatures, so it's just not going to be enough, unfortunately. Obviously, it will save pit stop time, but we're seeing how much power they have right now. As here comes Nikolai Surikov, still going another lap. How much longer is he going to leave this?
Unsure, there's my inside. Genuinely don't know, as there comes Lipponen. Chapman is now 6th.
That's one more position for Chapman. I don't think he might not be able to catch Nilo Saarinen in time. Saarinen's tires are much fresher as their Lipponen goes for one final stop. 8th he is, but it's just not going to be a great result for him. Another good result, though, for the Velan team. Lundqvist and Miller are both safely in the points.
Oliveira needs to come in, or does she?
She does. She does need to come in.
She does.
The
Which
question
puts
is, will she
Chapman
be able to...
5th.
This could be down to the wire. Here is Vexler on Surikov. Can he get a move to the outside? No, Surikov is switching to the inside and defending it. And he's going to go another lap.
Not in the pit lane.
This could still be Chapman's championship to lose. If Surikov
Oliveira
doesn't put in soon,
Chapman passes.
It's equal on points, and Chapman has the advantage on countback.
This is unbelievable. The fastest lap point is going to decide it, potentially.
This could be what he needs. Surikov's leaving this unbelievably late. As there is Nina Holtz catching back up.
As looking at the lap time, Chapman is unlikely to catch anyone, so he's just got to pray that Wexler does not set a blinder lap. As it stands, Chapman is going to survive. He's going to survive.
Still not hitting yet. How much longer will he leave this? He's still going!
This is some unbelievable stuff from Surikov.
How old are his tires? I'm not sure that he can go to the end.
What's his gap to Chapman, by the way? 18 seconds.
18 seconds. I don't think he can recover that in time.
As Javier Vasquez sets the fastest lap,
places and steals it away from
spoiler.
And there's Holtz passing Surikov.
But now, if Surikov comes in, Chapman gets ahead. Chapman's going to get 4th.
That will be exactly the position that he needs to be in. Oh my goodness, what are Panther doing? And this is a really baffling decision because we know how much the
Surikov is in.
Drops in.
4 to go.
4 laps to go.
My God.
And he's going to be behind
Chapman's
Harry Chapman. With so much time, Chapman has taken 4th place, and he's in the championship lead with an absolutely huge margin to Nikolai Surikov. He better not make a mistake now, because that 1 point is all he needs.
As I'm seeing, the fan stewards are now having to separate the Tifosi and the Panther fans, as both are hurling, let's just say, insults at each other.
I'm seeing that. It's just hollering. The chants. Why? I'm seeing a fan board in the grandstands just before turn 10. Why? That's all that has happened there. Oh my goodness. And he has a 14-second gap in 3.5 laps. I have no idea what Panther were thinking there. With the super tire, we know with the softest tire, it falls off a lot towards the end of its life.
Especially here.
I am indeed, especially here because of the rotation. I am just shocked that they left him out for that long. He was fighting Holtz at one point. That is a disastrous move, no matter how you look at it. But it's not disastrous for Harry Chapman, who, despite making 2 mistakes and being forced onto a 3-stop strategy when he wasn't originally, he has the advantage by 1 point. It might not be a win, but it is all he needs. As Vexler is driving elbows out, he is all on his own, clear air, but he's just driving angry, driving with his heart. It's gonna be a win for him no matter what, but I feel so bad for him. Oh man, as Vasquez, we are looking at a battle for the final point. Javier Vasquez has the fastest lap. It doesn't mean anything unless he's in the top 10, so he needs to get that position.
It also doesn't mean anything, I think, for the championship if Wexler were to get it, as he would just go to losing on countback instead.
Indeed, we saw that they reduced the fastest lap point from 2 points to 1 point this season, and it's just such a shame that after 9 years of waiting, it's going to hurt them at this exact moment, as there is Vasquez still trying to make a move, can't do it. Meanwhile, we see Surikov considerably closer, but he was just so far out that I can't believe it.
There's no emotion in any of the pit garages. No one is celebrating because Steinman feel completely that, I mean, it was their chance to win the Constructors and they haven't, whereas Rossini feel completely hard done by the Panther mishap, and so they're not celebrating despite the fact that they're going to win the Constructors.
They're going to win the Constructors' Championship. It will be their first championship of any kind. Their 17th overall, the first one in 8 years. Been a fantastic run for Vexler. He only had 1 race win prior to this point. And just like with Ana Oliveira at Rio de Janeiro 8 years ago, there is the look of a desolate but passionate and dominant Rossini driver around the final turn. Dieter Vexler is going to win the Dubai Grand Prix, and Rossini are your World Constructors champions, with Nina Holtz saving a pit stop and taking a deserved second place over Saarinen in third. But around the final turn, ladies and gentlemen, made 2 mistakes but kept his head down. Harry Chapman, from 2 races behind, 50 points behind, wins the World Championship. Sensational recovery from Chapman.
Chapman's family are going wild. Not necessarily the Steinman garages. They are uncomfortable at how he's done it, but it's a world championship. There's not much else that can be said. Wexler hurling all sorts of German insults, even German insults I don't know, at this blown opportunity. As Johan mentioned, such a lead for him and for Saarinen, and they've blown it. They may have won the Constructors, but for the drivers, it's the drivers that matter, and the drivers has been blown.
I'm not sure that they even did anything wrong, though. It's just that the paid actor, if you might like to call it, Nikolai Surikov, he was up there in the fight for the win, could have had a good result, even a podium to end on, and just unnecessarily lost so much time by being left out for so long. I just can't believe it. And that has given Chapman the World Championship by 1 point. And, oh man, look at that Rossini pit crew member. He is just in tears. The World Drivers' Championship was theirs, and they lost it through no fault of their own. But Harry Chapman, the tires just couldn't work for Steinman at all in the first 5 races. No matter what he did, he spun it, even if he put his foot halfway down on the gas. And he was 2 races behind the leaders. But this second half recovery has been sensational from him, despite his mistakes today. And he's the champion. Just what an unbelievable recovery.
There you have it, confirmed with pit scrutineering and all said and done. Dieter Wexler and Harry Chapman swapping places, but Harry Chapman and Dieter Wexler crucially not swapping places in the Drivers' Championship, as driver of the day Anna Oliveira, a Q1 exit turned 6th, finishes ahead of Lipponen who started 6th, and a special
look at
mention to
that.
Siri Lundqvist for
And look at
Velan.
that. Unrelated to all of the championship drama, there is Ana Oliveira. For the final time in her 15-year-long career, she brings out the Brazilian flag and waves it with pride. That's the end of an incredible 45-year-long dynasty of at least one Brazilian in every single championship. Well, it might continue with Esteban Ribeiro, of course, but his top seat prospects look pretty uncertain. And we all know how significant this is. Ana Oliveira is an incredible ambassador for the sport. She's done so much, even though she's not a world champion. And I hope that she can ride off into the sunset with grace, because that was a drive that that befits a deserved world champion. Thank you, Ana.
Also mentions for Javier Vasquez, who is notably undecided, but he set the fastest lap. I don't see why he can't come back. As well as Jenny North, start 10th, finished 15th. Not the greatest race, but she joins Oliveira in a confirmed retirement celebration, an extra victory lap for them, as we see the bottom half of the standings. A chaotic start with 3 retirements in the opening lap and then not much else afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, there weren't any safety cars. That just played out as it was expected, and one wonders simply what could have been if Surikov had pit just 2 or 3 laps earlier. That could have been a completely different story, but we may never know. I think with everything that's been going on off behind the scenes, all the managerial changes to the sport's promotional body, this is a good foundation point to jump off of. A heartbreaking championship loss for Scuderia Rossini, but good Lord, it's just motor racing. I can't believe that we have another conclusion like this. It's just,
Well,
you
there
never
you have
see
it.
something coming.
Dieter Wexler jumps 1 position, but he can't jump to that final step of the Drivers' Championship. Harry Chapman once again is a World Drivers' Champion. However, as we see on the Constructors, Rossini and the Tifosi can be happy at the fact that they have won the Constructors. As we've seen, Chariot is last on countback, Cortosi and Chariot failing to score. Your final Constructors being Rossini, Steinman, Panther, Windsor, Van Dort, Catano, Thornton, Rosato, Velan, Asia Road, Cortosi, and Chariot. Probably an expected order at the season start. Certainly
Indeed.
not in the way this season's developed, however.
That was just, this has been a really phenomenal season, and I'm looking forward to see how Rossini and Dieter Wexler especially manage this defeat, because they have a lot to prove with the coming season. They've got revenge as a target for next year, and I hope they can bring the solid momentum they've brought across the season into a better championship charge next year, because they came so close and were yet so far. But Harry Chapman, after a miserable start, I think a championship like that will give him all the motivation he needs to try and defend it for real this time with a good start, because he needs that too. And I can't wait for another titanic battle between these two.
Well, that titanic battle will have to wait. We have been Wolf Motorsports Broadcasting. We will be back for a special pre-recorded edition after pre-season, but that is February and this is the start of December. So for now, I've been Ismail Ginger.
And I've been Johan Betravison.
Signing off for 2016.